Hey everyone, it's Jenny, Vintage Soul Crafter. Thanks for stopping in again. This is part 2 in the Gnome Life, Gnome Culture Journaling Kit series that I am doing. If you didn't catch the story, the backstory on all of this, then please do go and watch part 1. And then things won't seem, I don't know, they might still seem strange to you, but at least you'll be caught up that way. Okay, so if you did watch part 1, and even if you didn't, you need to know that there are different kinds of gnomes. And I am showcasing in these journals, these junk journal kits, 2 variety of gnome culture. One is gardening gnomes, which are very, very well known, and woodland gnomes, of course, also very well known, but a little bit more mysterious perhaps. So I did a correction in the first video because there were some things that I didn't want to lead anyone astray on, and one of those is the life of a gnome. So in this first page, you will get 6 pages in this journaling kit, just like the other, from the Will Hune gnome book that I have taken these pages from. And this one begins with this gorgeous picture of a woodland gnome. And as you can see, which is part of what I corrected, it says that 275 years is the prime of life for a gnome. Now, I don't know if that is a garden gnome or simply a woodland gnome, but if a woodland gnome who's out in the wilds like that, a little less protected, is gonna live to be, I don't know, 500 years plus, at 275 years being in the prime of their life, then I would say, you know, the garden gnome could live a much longer life. Anywho, this is the first page, and it also shows, as I said in the first video, the diaspora of the dispersion of the gnomes in Europe. So I don't want to say I told you so, but I kind of did in part 1 about this, that they did start in Europe. I know here in the States, and believe me, I'm an all-American girl. We like to think we started everything, but we did not. In fact, did you know that those dine-in movies, that started in Asia, folks? It started in Asia. I did it in Thailand years ago, and it's not to say, you know, that we can't like amp it up ourselves and so on. But anyway, I rattle on. Okay, here's the next page. Woodland gnomes, as you can see, work very, very hard. But again, these illustrations, this is a little bit about the anatomy of a gnome. They do not, you know, necessarily clean out their ears. They need that hair for protection. They do live in the woodland after all. It's a very wild and crazy place. These are some of the difficulties, physical difficulties, that woodland gnomes, snake bites, obviously a garden gnome, being cared for by a very sweet pheasant there. A garden gnome could encounter snakes as well. This is just a lovely woodland picture with a deer or an elk, whichever it is. And then this is a gnome having a little chuckle at the expense of some of the human beliefs that we have. Here's a little bit more of woodland gnome life, and I guess that's the king and queen there. I don't know. I didn't really read that part. I guess I should have. And of course, just as in the garden gnomes, woodland gnomes especially have a very symbiotic relationship. They build everything themselves. They completely live off the land. They are some of the original, you know, homesteaders. And this, like the other garden gnome journaling kit, is a coloring page out of a gnome coloring book that I also found in one of my Goodwill hauls and was pretty excited about. Along with this journaling kit, just like with the garden one, you will get these pieces that have been lovingly cut out of a pop-up book that I'm looking for the other ones because I put this kit all together and included those in there. Let me pause for a moment. Okay, back again. All right, found all the pieces. I had a pop-up book that I also found at Goodwill, and it was torn and tattered, having been loved much. And so I very carefully cut out some of the pieces of it to include as sort of die cuts. So this one shows gnomes at work. Get it? Gnomes at work versus men at work. But anyway, okay, gnomes at work. And this is a little explanation of their work life. And then unlike garden gnomes, woodland or forest gnomes do have to be careful of trolls. Trolls are an enemy of the gnomes, and they've been known to do, not known to do, but known to do some pretty harsh and nasty things to poor little innocent gnomes. And then this is another little die cut piece out of that pop-up book. And then this one talks about how deer's antlers will sometimes become entangled, but I didn't go ahead and glue this one back on. I wanted you to be able to do that yourself. And also it talks about how otters, but it goes like that. So, you know, this was a pop-up book, so the little deer head would kind of pop up out with its little, you get the picture. Anyway, so those are the little gnome die cuts out of the pop-up book you will also receive with this. And then you will get several vintage book pages, of course, mushrooms and toadstools, very important for shelter and other things in gnome life as well as ours, good on pizza. And these ones are from vintage floral books, including the pitcher plant, because that is often found in the woodlands and forests. And then 3 from this, I think it's a children's book of knowledge. I just thought this gorgeous picture of these children in the forest, and it sort of has just this enchanted look. And then this is a little story about a robin, and then more pictures of birds that you might find in the woodlands, not simply in a garden. And Edith Holden, I mean, completely befitting of gnomes. I'm sure she had many gnomes as friends, as she did so many portraits of their home life. So I have included August and January with illustrations as well as text. Beautiful. And then because all of this started out of love and lore that I picked up in Germany, I took apart, as I shared in part 1, these books that my mom gave back to me, which were my children's German books in Germany. Well, they were ours as a family. And included a couple of pages from those. One of them is a German sheet music page, because gnomes are very musical. They love to play instruments and sing as well. Sometimes if you're very quiet on a still and lovely evening, you might actually hear them. They will use crickets and any other various woodland creatures that are around to create a symphony, an orchestra of sorts with. In the last video, I accidentally shared I shared this one, but the bunny rabbit is the German page that goes in this kit with the lovely little gnome-like looking ladies doing their wash. The one that goes in the Garden Life, More Home Life gnome kit is this adorable one of a little elf-like, gnome-like boy eating some plums. Reminds me of my husband, my Tommy, a little bit. And that's the other side that goes in, this one goes in the garden book. So I did correct that in the little preamble to the video. Back to forest woodland gnomes. So of course some forest type vintage book pages on forest life are included in these, with the lovely yellowing oxidation that is happening on the pages. And then this is like the other Garden Life. These are some wild plants, the arum, wildflowers of Canada, beautiful text fonts on that. So those are included as well in a really nice texture, thick paper. And in the Woodland Life book, you will also get these 2 postcards of an adorable little chipmunk and this mama deer and her little baby fawn. Oh my goodness, looks like Bambi. This is a postcard, has writing. It's 1948. And then this one, not really sure, but it's a postcard as well. So you will get those. And then these lovely pictures of various different forest life, woodland, again, another little bunny rabbit, possum, you know, various different types of squirrels from a little mammal informative book. And I think it's a golden book, one of those golden books of information or whatever they're called. And then these fun, colorful pages that go along with the cardstock that you will get with the color on different insect creatures that one might find in the forest or woodlands. Just ask Winnie the Pooh. Honeybees do exist in the forest. And then fireflies and various other, yeah, just colorful and fun and pretty. And so that kind of set the stage for the different cardstocks. I got a little carried away with this one because I couldn't decide on the cardstocks. The other one didn't have as many, but that's okay. It still has plenty. You easily can make 3, 4, maybe even 5 signatures out of either one of these kits. And I will see if I can find some cardstock that I like, additional ones, so that they both have the same amount, because, you know, I like it to be even. But anyway, I love this because it says always stay little. I mean, you know, gnomes are not ashamed of the fact that they're short, that they're small. It's to their advantage, really. And what it is to be a gnome is to be little. So always stay little. Gnomes don't have much choice because that is partly what makes them gnomes. So anyway, yeah, just some colorful, flowery, that's a little bright, but you know, next to all of the other pages, it's not so crazy. And if you want one side, you're gonna have the other side. And of course, butterflies and pretty kind of golden pattern on that. And then this one, I don't know, clouds in the sky, and kind of goes with forest life, and it's just fun and vibrant, and that's what gnomes are. Gnomes are fun and vibrant. I mean, they have a serious side as well, of course, but they try to enjoy life, you know. Along with, you will also get this birch paper that I have and that I cut. This is pretty much all I have left of this, so it's not necessarily, I don't even remember what size. I just cut it to a size because some of it was torn, but definitely useful as for signatures in this. And then of course ferns, which grow all over in the forest and the woodlands. And this beautiful piece of tissue paper that has oak leaves and maple leaves all over it, and of course has that wonderful crinkle. And this is some journaling book pages that also have a nice crinkle and texture, and they're lined as well, a very fine line. Some typing paper that you will also get that has been, I can't remember if it's tea stained or coffee stained, but again, love the crinkle. And of course, some beautiful woodland vintage wrapping paper that will be included in this one. And last but not least, you will also get, that's just another little snippet protecting the baggies, you will get 3 woodland type barky sort of tree-ish baggies. Nice thick paper. Those are the ones that a while ago the glue was coming undone, so I just went ahead and stitched all around them, so you don't need to worry about them coming undone. And then there's 3 little cute manila type tags stuck in one of those, and another one has a couple of pretty sort of florally cards, and then this adorable little post-it, sorry I went out of frame there, with a little fairy type critter on there, very pretty. Fairies and gnomes, they're not the same thing, but of course they both live in the forest and they have learned to get along. You know, they try to help each other out and look out for each other and, you know, be good neighbors to each other, take care of the forest, and you know, they each have their roles. So that's the great thing about gnomes and fairies, that they get along. And then this is another card. You can't see the picture because it is a, whoops, some of that got moved over there. No worry, we'll just rip that right off. It's got washi tape on it, so you get some washi tape with this as well that has some feathers and some pretty clouds and hearts to go with the cardstock, and maple leaves and so forth and so on. So that is also, let me try not to catch any of the washi tape as I stick it in there this time. And then finally you get this fun little bag of goodies. As I said before, gnomes being near to the ground spot are very good at spotting little things that people tend to leave behind, such as buttons. So this will come with a vibrant, pretty red button and a metal button and various different kinds of buttons, as well as lace trim and bits and pieces that they borrowed from probably the seamstress of the home. And as with the other one, some nice little ribbon there that has moths and dragonflies, and all of that's packaged up pretty with this cute little Tim Holtz clip on there. And that is it, you guys. And of course, all the clips that I put this all together with, you will also get with this kit. They will both be listed in my Etsy store this evening. And yeah, if you have any questions, please just message or leave a comment. And I hope you enjoyed. And if you did, go ahead and subscribe, like, and I think that's it. Thanks a lot. And for the gnomes and myself, good night.